All right, welcome back again to the Lethal Library. I am Stephanie,
And I'm Danny.
and today we're going to be going another crime tale from Idaho, very local, especially for those in Nampa. You're going to see some familiar street names. That's really all that I've heard about it.
To keep her,
I'm almost always in the dark completely. I might know like the area that it happened or just some very basic details of the case, but just so I can have a fresh perspective on it, that's kind of how we do it. So I will let Danny take it away with what are we going to be hearing today?
well, everybody needs to just calm down. Divorce can be nasty, especially when it involves children. But keep your shit together, please. I'm going to tell you about a guy that lost it on his soon to be ex wife. His actions will have a lifelong effect on so many people, including his poor children.
I see that a lot.
On September 27th, 2006, Colleen Hubbard left work to pick up her children at her estranged husband's home on Holly Street in Nampa, Idaho. And for you locals, like Holly and Hawaii
In Nampa.
in Nampa, so
Should know.
you all know where that's at. She worked late, and so it was a little bit later. While on her way home, she called her boyfriend, Michael Ramey. The call was placed at 10:35 and it woke him up. Colleen was calling to let him know that she had a flat tire and she was getting it fixed and should be home in about 10 or 15 minutes. 42-year-old Colleen had recently filed for divorce from her husband Roger Hubbard in July. The pair had married in 2001. She had filed because her husband's employment was inconsistent. That's the polite way of saying, go get a job.
I didn't sign up for an additional child. I signed up for a partner. But sure, let's go.
Inconsistent. Just the day before, the couple had been ordered into mediation for custody and visitation issues for their two daughters, who are 2 and 4. At 10:57, Colleen called 911 from the trunk of her car.
That escalated.
She told dispatchers that she had been stabbed and was bleeding. She described her vehicle and its location. When the police were approaching her location, they saw a car speed off. Officer Tyler Gray found a pool of blood by the driveway along with a pair of sunglasses. He went into the home to check for the possible victim when he encountered Colleen and Hubbard's 4-year-old daughter crying in the hallway.
Oh no.
It's so sad. Other officers were on the chase. They chased Colleen's Chevy Metro through the neighborhood. The vehicle veered through the NNU campus and neighborhood lawns at speed of up to 50 miles per hour.
Now, let me just comment on that because for those not familiar with the area, around the NNU campus is many very curvy S-curve roads. Like, not you can do a safe 35. I mean, but if you're going 45 or over, that's a not an easy feat. And
We just had that recently.
yes, tell them about it.
We just had a car, was a couple months ago, in the middle of it was a Sunday morning, like at 7:30 in the morning. I don't know what they were doing speeding, but they were speeding through those curves. And the car literally fucking launched over a house and landed on another house.
Yeah, there was they completely missed, did not even, it seems like, attempt to do the curve. And we're going all close to 100 and hit a berm in front of someone's house, launched over that house, clipped their chimney, and lodged themselves into the roof of the next house. There was 3 people in the car. One of them died. It's wild that this happened on a Sunday. No, we're not talking snow, slippery roads, none of that. I have no idea why someone would think they could be going that speed on these curves. So 50, sure, maybe you could do it, but that's a very dangerous territory.
And can we just talk about the vehicle?
Right? We've got what was a Chevy
A
what?
Chevy Metro.
Oh no. They're not known for their great
Did you not
suspension.
pick that up? I was like, stuff. It's a Chevy Metro, bro. No.
I don't know what we were thinking here,
The
but
tires
anyway,
are probably like 12 inches big.
what's happening?
Okay. During the chase, officers could see what appeared to be blood draining from the back of the vehicle.
What? What in the hell?
Two of the tires were flattened during the escapade. No shit, they're 12-inch tires. And she is in the back of her car.
Sparks are flying. The noise.
She's bleeding.
Enough for them to see the blood falling.
Yeah. And this
Very shitty.
very,
Shitty
very
stuff
shitty.
happening here.
The driver had to flee the disabled car, and after a short foot race, they were able to arrest a blood-covered Roger Hubbard, 36. It was a short chase through an alley near Innu. So, you know those streets over there,
Yes.
stuff. They're real alleys. We're not talking, subdivisions. They're real alleys.
Oftentimes with huge potholes and
Funny
like
you should mention
people's
that.
trash can. Is that what flattened the tires?
Hubbard had tripped over a tree trunk and fell forward onto his face.
Oopsie. Don't feel bad.
Me either. He was struggling with the police while saying, "Just kill me." One officer finally tasered him in the leg to subdue him. Like, just quit. What are you doing?
And the whole just kill me thing, it's like, then why were you even running? And where did you think you were going to go? You thought you were going to drive down to Mexico in the Chevy Metro with two flat tires? What was the, I know that it's heated, but once again, sometimes you cannot believe just how stupid and so little forethought these people have. Like, what?
When police opened the trunk of the car, they found Colleen bleeding from stab wounds to her shoulders and back. When asked, "Who stabbed you?" by a police officer, she responded, "Roger." According to court documents, she stopped breathing after stating who her attacker was.
That is so tragic. And
Can you imagine being like, you are on the phone with the police? You've been injured. You're on the phone with police,
like a lifeline.
and the fucker will not stop. She heard all of that.
And driving with two flat tires, that's very loud. And if you're getting down to the rims, sparks are flying, like you're being jostled around in a dark ass trunk. And
Not being able to, you're dying.
yeah.
Hubbard was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and eluding the police. He was charged this way because the crime was deliberate and with malice, but not premeditated. So I was like, why didn't he get first-degree murder?
Well, and sometimes I feel like first degree is harder to prove because if someone's willing to do this, you can't tell me they haven't thought about it before, which if they didn't write it down and plan it out and whatever, I feel like some of these people, they have thought about it, but they can make it look like it's a heat of the moment type thing.
I'm going to let you listen to this story. This is why
I'm sure there's more.
People just need to calm down. While awaiting his trial, Hubbard wrote a letter to a woman in Maryland. By the way, a girlfriend in Maryland?
Prison pen pal things are so strange to me. I'll never understand that.
That was read and copied by the deputies, which is standard procedure. Like, oh, you're going to send a letter? We're going to read that shit.
Every single word.
I think he did this maybe on purpose, but in this letter he states, quote, "I am not a murderer, but I did cause her to die. I can't deny that. I only hope that you're not repulsed by what I have done." Oh, he's trying to just salvage a little bit of something of a relationship.
Trying to rewrite what happened to make himself feel better is what it sounds like to me.
He said that his daughters were supposed to spend the night with him on September 27th, but Colleen showed up and demanded the girls come with her. He claims that Colleen hit him with a tire iron. He threw it back at her and then went inside to get a knife. He put the knife in his back pocket after he saw Colleen on her cell phone. When he saw her next, she was sitting on the open trunk of the car, and he told her to go home and they would talk this out later. The pair then they got in a fight. They were threatening each other with custody of the kids. Like, he quote,
It's messy.
it's very messy. And those poor babies were inside that house.
And having to listen to it, yeah.
Quote, I just lashed out and told her I was going to make sure she never got custody and that her parents and boyfriend were going to find out the cruel things that she had been doing. I told her that she would be alone, and then she snapped and flew at me. This is when she swung the tire iron at him. Quote, next thing I know, I had a knife in my hand. When I got hit in the jaw, I stabbed her shoulder. I wasn't trying to kill her, just stop her. I stabbed her again, and that's when she stopped. She fell down, and I think that's what she realized, when she realized that's what I'd done. She looked so scared. Of course, I regretted what I had done, what I had felt forced to do.
Okay, I'm going to keep listening.
He said in the letter he helped Colleen get off the ground and back to the car, where she laid down in the trunk. Hubbard wrote he closed the lid and took off because he thought she was dead and was filled with anger, fear, remorse, and confusion.
Okay, this is where I gotta say, there was plausible deniability up to this point where it's like, she walked over to the trunk and laid down, and I closed it figuring she was dead. I don't believe that for a second. The rest I could say maybe, his side of the story, or he could have viewed it as such. I don't think that it was quite like that. There's his side, her side, and what really happened. But you're telling me that she realized she was stabbed and said, the best thing I can do at this time is cuddle up in the trunk of my car. My life's in danger. Let me get into this trunk. Come on. Sorry to interrupt, but what the fuck?
But when Hubbard was arrested, he had cuts and bruising on his forehead, neck, and cheek, along with 2 abrasions on his back. You ran from the police, sir.
And they had to tase him to subdue him.
Yeah.
And there could have been a fight. I don't know how much it would have been that severe of a fight on her part, but it does happen. Could have happened.
But you also ran from the police.
Yeah. With someone with blood dripping out of the trunk.
You have a dying woman in the back of your car and you ran. Oh, wait, no. Didn't that happen when you fell over the tree trunk?
Well, and I feel like if she was calling the cops, that she may have screamed as well. I think it's possible. I mean,
it might be. I don't know how. I read that the 911 tape that was played in court was very garbled and hard because she had been stabbed in the lung.
Oh.
So I don't know, because she was stabbed, in her chest, but it punctured her lung. And so I don't know if she would actually have
the ability to scream.
And be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, from just my research, I feel like it was a very desperate, quiet 911 call, as quiet as it can be with all the chaos, because she literally.
Yeah, that's not a good injury for sure. But for someone to go, I know I'm being a broken record on this, but for someone to go and be like, I'm going to go cuddle up in the trunk, and then your response is, well, guess she's dead. What?
His trial begins in October of 2007. The prosecutor, Ted Fleming, in opening statement said, "A knife and time killed Colleen." Quote, "He was killing Colleen with every second of that drive."
Yeah.
I just had to put this into perspective at this point. I didn't write this in here. Hawaii and 12th Avenue is where the hospital's at.
Literally right there.
It's a city block away. Like, what is that?
She could have maybe gotten there herself.
Walking. It's very, very, very close.
But she chose to go and take a nap in a trunk. Even if you think that someone's going to take you to the hospital, why would you choose the trunk? Maybe the back seat, sure, so you can lay down something. Sure. Maybe in the driver's seat. Maybe you think you're going to drive yourself. But you say, no, I'm probably bleeding to death. The next best course of action is for me to get into this trunk. And please close it.
The hospital sign is literally on that corner.
You can see it.
It's literally on that corner. So, defense attorney Tom Sullivan is claiming self-defense. Quote, "He's not guilty because the only reason he was stabbing her was because she was attacking him with that tire iron."
Which is, me and my brain. This is what I was thinking, that when he was continuing to drive around and around, that he was hoping that she would die and that he could be like, well, what do you do? Which so many people do not understand self-defense laws and how they work.
And that could possibly, be a reason, because he might not have known that she was on 911, that she was actually on the phone.
Had her phone and was doing that. Yeah.
Obviously the cops are behind him, but did he actually understand that she was on the phone?
Yeah, because no one has Ring cameras at this time. There's no surveillance. The kids are in the house. They're young. It's your word against hers. And who's to say that someone didn't attack you and you had to make a tough decision? But it just doesn't add up so far for me.
Sullivan also stated that he went inside to get a knife because he thought Colleen was calling her boyfriend and thought he might need it if he came over.
Sure.
I just there's no eloquence in these opening statements, just so you know. This is not me. I don't have eloquence when writing anyway,
but sometimes these lawyers, they're painting a picture like a novel. And
right.
Other times
it's not happening here.
He went in, got a gun or got a knife just in case.
He said Colleen was bigger than Hubbard and very strong.
She was older. What are we talking here? I need to see pictures.
I just kind of
proof or didn't happen.
The jury also heard that Hubbard was trying to drive to a payphone because he didn't have a phone in his home.
Which is the logical, what you would do. If someone's bleeding to death in your car and the hospital's within walking distance, go to the Circle K 3 miles that way.
Okay, let me ask you this. Where do you think the closest payphone would be from that location?
The Maverick.
Wouldn't it be faster just to go to the fucking ER?
Exactly. No, it is. The Maverick by the high school or the
Holly
Albertson. Yeah, Holly Shopping Center.
Yeah,
maybe.
The Stinker over there. Is it still Stinker, Sinclair, whatever?
So, yeah.
But
that would be closer.
Right. But out of all those locations, guess what was closer?
The hospital.
The emergency room.
And you don't need a phone to call 911 for medical help. If you are at the place, they'd be taking you anyway. This is why this shit just doesn't add up.
I'm so pissed off about that.
And additionally, there's police behind you.
Stop the car.
And you're saying, I can't stop. I've got to get to a payphone. Police have radios. They work with EMTs. If anything, if you saw a cop and someone is in a medical emergency,
you stop.
Flag them down and say, help, please help.
Can I finish doing this? And
Yeah.
then we can talk.
Yeah. You don't say, I can't stop right now. I need to find a payphone a mile down the road.
And NNU was the wrong fucking way, dude. That's not the way.
Yeah, you're
Not the way.
goodness gracious.
A detective testified that when he told Hubbard his wife was dead, he acted shocked and upset.
Oh.
A paramedic testified that by the time Colleen arrived at the hospital, she was bleeding pink because she had lost so much blood. All that was in her was IV fluid.
Oh, God. I didn't know that was a thing that happened if you lost that much blood.
I haven't heard of that either. Colleen had called, just to put the timeline into perspective here. Colleen had called 911 at 10:55, and the paramedics arrived at 11:14. So by the time the cops showed up, he was driving around in that car for like 15 minutes.
And all through that area.
Yeah.
That curvy. of
He
the
wasn't
valley.
stopping. I mean, I would think that the police, just based on the location, they probably had officers there in 5 to 7 minutes
Yeah.
with that kind of a phone call. Because we just weren't that dramatic.
Well, and that's so sad because she just called her boyfriend at 10:35.
Right.
Not even an hour later, she's dead. Okay.
The case is handed over to the jury to deliberate. By day 3, the jury tells Judge Renee Hoff that they're at an impasse on the second-degree murder charge. They told Judge Hoff that they have reached verdicts on the second-degree kidnapping and eluding an officer. Judge Hoff earlier had told the jury that in order to convict Hubbard of second-degree murder, they needed to agree that he intended to cause Colleen great bodily harm or injury. And I don't understand this part. I'm just going to be honest. Or they could consider a lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter. How does that work, Steph? In like a criminal case? I thought these are the charges, A or B.
I didn't know you could just throw in like an alternative.
That's where I'm
I
so
thought you
confused.
had to.
If anybody has any input on
Otherwise, so like let's say there's one victim, why wouldn't people be like the prosecutor? I'm going to do the first and second degree murder and voluntary manslaughter.
and all the
I'm
charges.
charging you with all of them, and the jury just picks what they think it is. You don't see that, do you? I don't think I have.
I have seen ones where they have done like second degree murder or manslaughter, but they're up for both. But I didn't see that he was charged with that. So maybe I missed something in my research, which is possible. But I kind of feel like she's like, this is the gist that I've got for my research. It's like, well, if you guys can't decide on that,
Can we at least get a manslaughter up in
can we
here?
at least get a manslaughter charge? Which I'm like, yo, judge. So anyways,
Because if you're not charged with that, how does the defense
I don't
fight and say, well, according to manslaughter, you have to do this, this, this? I don't know how that works. Maybe,
I don't
maybe
either.
It's a thing. I don't know.
email us. After the jury told Judge Hoff of the impasse, she asked for them to give it another try. Defense attorney Sullivan said the court was pushing the jury too far and that the judge should claim a mistrial. Yeah.
I don't, it seems like in a lot of cases, when they come back with their first, we can't, I feel like I've always heard the judge says, please try again. Maybe try to talk over whatever is the impasse points. And I think a judge should say that, because you can have someone that says, I'm not changing my vote. I'm not changing my vote. And then if you really just find out what's the root cause of you not changing your vote.
So let's take into account
They did go 3 days.
Thank you.
It wasn't 3 hours.
It wasn't
So
3 hours.
I get you there.
So, anyway, just food for thought. Hoff said, I do think I am treading on very delicate ground. However, I have tried to be very careful in the inquiry I've made to this jury. They might like some guidance. I could give them that guidance. An hour later, the jury handed down guilty convictions on second-degree murder, second-degree kidnapping, and eluding the police.
Which, you know, I wonder if there's any case files that have gone into, because people cite certain trials and stuff. So I wonder if there has been trials where the judge, even if it's gone 4 days and they say we're at an impasse, what if the judge doesn't say, I'd like you to try again, and please ask me if there's policy or legal, please ask me if there's things that you guys would like to, because sometimes they go out to the crime scene. Sometimes they're like,
Chained
I
to a
wanna
tree.
Yeah, but I want to see something. So I wonder if there's things where it has come back on appeal because a judge doesn't say, can you give it one more try?
And in all fairness, the Menendez jury was out for like 30 days or something ridiculous. So
That's a bit of a stretch to me.
anyway, yeah, I totally see your point, and I'm not disagreeing with that. It was just like that defense attorney's like, hey, mistrial, yo, let's go. Anyway,
It's crazy that it only took them an hour after
that's an hour.
it is touchy on both
She must have
sides.
gave some great fucking guidance.
She was a very stern glare. She said, I really like it to not be a mistrial. Side eye. Bombastic side eye. If you need any advice, feel free to reach out. Per my last email, please reach a verdict.
Oh, shit. The sentencing hearing is in January of 2008. This would piss me off. It did piss me off. Family members showed up to testify, but instead were turned away when the hearing was rescheduled for March.
Mm.
The delay was due to Hubbard not completing his portion of the pre-sentence investigation paperwork.
Okay.
So, despite the side eye, she was very patient with this fucker. Judge Hoff reluctantly granted the continuance. She told Hubbard, quote, you better have that paperwork filled out.
He's not fucking around.
I'd just thrown the book at him at that point. I would have been so pissed. Like, what have you been doing in jail? You
got a book schedule.
You have nothing.
Couldn't pencil in your paperwork anywhere.
Finish the paperwork so we can get this over with.
Too many activities going on in the prison.
I'll
We're playing you
agree.
guys some music. You're dancing to too much music. We can outlaw music.
Prosecutor Bozzoli pointed out the emotional, mental, and financial toll that this has taken on the victim's family. Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a buildup to a day when you're going to go and you're going to a sentencing hearing to testify about what your loss is, what this has done to you.
You've made time for it.
The buildup and just the emotional. I'd be a wreck.
Mm-hmm. For the day of. Or
No.
Yeah, that's some fuckery for sure.
The court did allow Colleen's brother to testify. He came from North Carolina and will be unable to return in March. He testified, this monster of a man right here took her from us. She'll never see her babies again. Which is so sad because I mean, that is sad, right? But the finality of saying your statement, saying all the things that you want to say to this man that murdered somebody you
It's your
love,
one chance to.
and then you want to see him, convicted and walk away with some satisfaction from that. Like, okay, I mean, it's not going to be completely satisfied. There's nothing that can replace a life, but you're looking for, and I know people will disagree with the word closure, but it's like, okay, I've said my piece and he's going to prison for X amount of time. And I know now I'm put this out of my brain. Done.
No, it is some closure, and it's hopefully to demonstrate the finality of it, demonstrate the impact the person had upon your life. You know, it's your one chance to impact anything, you know, in a meaningful way. There's other things that you can do, but it's so hard to be a participant once something like this goes to trial. Like, this is your chance.
Oh, and we've had family members even kept from trial. We've went through that. Like, it's just
There's been family members that have done their own investigations.
badass. In March, the sentencing finally takes place. Hubbard testified in court that it was the biggest mistake he'd ever made and a guilt he will have to bear for the rest of his life. Quote, "I'm sorry and I regret her death." Judge Hoff said she took into account the letters Hubbard wrote while awaiting his trial. Hubbard had wrote, quote, "Even in death, she is still screwing me over, and I don't think I could hate anyone more." Unquote.
Little contradictory.
Well, they're reading that shit and they're listening to this isn't 1977.
Yeah.
They are listening to your phone calls and your letters, and you're an idiot if you think different.
And they're going to take anything, even if something is said that isn't that inflammatory, but could be construed to where you're like, I hate it in here. And there's ways you could say things where it's like, is he trying to like blame or this? Or, like, that's a very direct, like, yeah, this bitch is still fucking up my life and she's dead.
Pretty much.
Oh, you fucked up there.
Shouldn't have done that. Hoff said, quote, "Your attitude while incarcerated continues to disturb me. You brutally and violently took her life, and instead of accepting responsibility, you have chosen to blame others." There.
I think so too.
Judge Hoff sentenced Hubbard to 45 years in prison with the eligibility of parole after 25. Hoff said she gave Hubbard the opportunity for parole because he lacked any early warning flags like a history of drug or alcohol abuse or a criminal record. Hoff told Hubbard, quote, "I have not fixed your sentence. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. You can choose to deal with that in whatever fashion. I suggest you use it constructively."
I think that she summarized this very well of like, basically, even if, let's say that it was an accident, we all know it wasn't first degree murder, but she's like, for you to act like this, you're making it like you're still a threat to which you got to figure your stuff out. Stop acting like it's someone else's fault that they died because you stabbed them, and maybe we'll talk in 25 years. So do you want to take that road and we can talk in 25 years and you will have a chance? Or are we going to talk in 25 years and you're going to say some stupid shit like this?
Yeah.
Sayonara, sucker. What do you think?
Well, Hubbard was, I think she was like, "You're a D-bag. Why would you ever write that down on paper?
You're being a dipshit. You're giving us so much.
What the hell?" Because he really didn't have any. And even Colleen's divorce attorney said there was no history of domestic violence or any issues, drug use.
On paper, yeah.
Right. But there was no, they have not, there was, I really do think that he was just lazy. And she's like, she worked a hard job out at the Idaho State Hospital. I mean, it takes a lot out of you to go and just,
And you have 2 children.
yeah, 2 and 4. So she's out there, and she was getting off at like 10:30 at night. So she was going out there. She worked afternoon, evening shift, right? She is out there showing these guys how to do daily tasks. And you have to be very patient and understanding to do that kind of work. You do. And so, and then she's coming home to this lazy motherfucker who won't get a job. Won't get a job. And he might have been one of those guys like, I'm not watching my kids. Until they're separated, and then that's all he had was to clasp onto those kids. You know those guys.
Oh, they?
Yeah. Oh, they're out there. And women too. Not judging. But like, they're like all of a sudden like, oh, my kids. When
Now they care so much.
they weren't there when you needed them. So, I mean, this is all,
Speculations.
but I could see it. But Hubbard was stoic during the sentencing until Judge Hoff ordered a no contact order issued between Hubbard and his 2 children until they were 18. Hubbard then hung his head. Got you good, fucker. That one hurt.
That got him.
Roger Hubbard is currently 54 years old and in Saguaro Correctional Center in Arizona. He will be eligible for parole in 2031. Fun fact.
Tell me this fun fact.
He's in the same prison and same unit as Alfredo Martinez. Unit L.
For Liz? Fucking idiot.
Actually, I looked that up today because I was like, oh my gosh, that prison sounds very familiar. And I looked it up, and it's like,
I can't believe you found that.
it's a private prison. So the state of Idaho is shipping these guys out to Arizona. And I think like the L unit is like the Idaho unit.
But we got the Taterland fest
So
over
I
here.
should look up and see who's all in the L unit.
What are
See if
y'all
they're
doing?
Are you playing cards together? Sharing ramen?
Well, and Alfredo seemed like a pretty blamey, like, that was such a cruel crime that he was like, yeah, I murdered my girlfriend and I put her in the closet and I went to the strip club with my friends.
And
Wouldn't
he was,
you?
well, and Martinez was just a bad dude. He'd beat up a lot. I mean, he had done things
Yeah.
before and been in and out of prison. I do think that Hubbard here just
Lost his shit.
literally lost his shit. And it doesn't make it okay. And I'm not justifying anything. But I do think he thought that her boyfriend was coming over. I really do think that he thought that. And he put that, he should, this would have went a completely different way if he never put that knife in his pocket. I don't believe he wanted, his intentions were not to murder her that evening. Absolutely not. But,
He went and got it and concealed it.
and then just don't play with weapons,
Kids
kids.
makes the rest of your story not believable as much, where it's like, if you really thought that your life was in danger, you go in, you hide a knife, and then you come, like, why did you come back out?
Right?
Lock the doors or stay there with the knife, and if someone enters, then you might actually have a good self-defense claim.
Right.
You might. But you fucked out.
But his best bet that night would have been to lock the door and let her call the police. And then they would have said, this is a domestic issue, blah, 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 blah.
You need to separate.
Yep. And she would have went home and he would have stayed home and everybody would have been okay. They would have, because
Not
eventually,
doing the loop-de-loops around NNU.
because eventually after a divorce, hopefully for most people, it calms down. You quit being so pissed off and you realize that you should just parent your children together and you let some shit go and realize that that's not a big that shouldn't be your main focus of your life, to fuck your partner, your ex-partner, and also fuck your kids out of having a relationship with the other parent.
Well, it's just that they were left there alone.
I know, that's so sad.
Ridiculous.
This just could have went a lot of other ways, but I don't think it was premeditated at all. So
I don't think that they, even if it was, that they couldn't have proven it. They couldn't have proved that stuff.
Alrighty, guys. Well, that's what we have.
A shorty one today, but to the point. No, it wasn't a death penalty case, so
No,
it
it
was
wasn't, but
chill.
it was um I chose this case because they're like these people were just literally having custody issues. And then
And
there's
look what it turned into.
a police chase, and also it's very local, and so it kind of caught my eye.
Mm-hmm.
And that the hospital was literally like 60 seconds, not kidding, 60 seconds away.
You could see the hospital sign.
Well, the hospital sign's on the corner. I bet you if you just walked up a smidge and looked at the right angle, you could probably see at least the medical center that's there. So just, yeah. So it caught my eye. Anyway,
Thank you for listening.
like, subscribe, go check out our TikToks and our Facebook.
Yeah, we're trying to be TikTokers now. Badly. But
Okay.
it's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny.
So
And apologies for the language, Risa.
Risa, we are working on I feel like I said gosh darn at least 2 times today. Not even on purpose, but I was like, Risa's gonna be proud of me.
Oh my God.
Maybe one of these days we'll have one with no swear words. That will never happen. And we'll send it to her. But thank you for putting us on the right path, girlie. We love you. 10-4 rubber ducky.
Fuck yeah.